What's going on, CDL fans? Maverick here, and today I'm going to be going through my predictions for CDL Opening Weekend, which is this weekend, February 4th through the 6th. I'm going to be predicting who I think is going to win each series, and what I'm also going to be doing is tracking my predictions throughout the entire season and seeing at the end what percent of the matches I predicted right. If you would like to follow along on this journey and want to do it yourself with me, definitely keep track of your predictions. Connect with me on Twitter, link is in the description or in the comment sections of all these videos, and we'll be able to see, who's doing the best prediction-wise. With that being said, let's try to hit 3 likes on this video and let me know who you think is going to be in first place in the standings after this weekend. Kicking it off with the first match of the weekend, we have the London Royal Ravens versus the Florida Mutineers. I don't think this is too much of a surprise for most people, but I'm going to be going with the Florida Mutineers as my winner. In case you can't tell on this graphic, there's this winner thing, and I'm going to have their logos pop up down along this side, just so you all know. But I'm going Florida Mutineers for this series. London obviously is a very young squad. They have a lot to learn, how to play together, how to be on the pro level, and overall, I think it's just gonna be tough for London to beat a team like Florida, who has multiple veterans, as well as Dave Patty, who's their new rookie. But I think between Vivid, Skies, Awakening, they're gonna really be able to handle this London roster. If I had to give a prediction for the scoreline, I'm gonna say probably like 3-1. I think London could get a map. I do think London could win this series, but overall, I'm just going to give the edge to Florida, as I think most people would. Next up, we have Boston versus LAG, and I'm going with the Guerrillas in this series. I do think this one is going to be close. I do think this will probably end with a 3-2, but I'm giving the edge to the Guerrillas simply because I think they have more veteran experience. I do think Boston is a really good team. I feel like these two are probably on a similar playing field in terms of where I'd rank them currently, which I will be doing a ranking video before this. So you should see that in the coming days before this opening weekend starts. But I think just that veteran talent, there's more of that on the Guerrillas, and I think that's just going to carry them through this match against Boston. Our third match of the day on Friday the 4th, we see New York versus Seattle. This is, a battle we already saw during the kickoff, which Seattle won 3-1, I believe. And with that being said, I am going to go with Seattle. We did just see them play each other, right? So I do think we already know that Seattle's probably a little bit better than New York at this point in time, but New York does have, veterans. They do have that leadership, whereas Seattle is a lot of a younger team, so anything can really happen. I'm still going to give the edge to Seattle, probably 3. I'm going to go 3-2 on this one, I think. No, I'm going to go 3-1, actually. I'm going to go 3-1 Seattle, just because of what we saw at the kickoff. Then we move into Saturday, FaZe versus Paris. I mean, to no surprise, I'm going to go FaZe. I think everyone's going to pick FaZe here. FaZe obviously didn't look great at the kickoff. Paris also didn't look great at the kickoff, but we know what FaZe can do. We saw what they did all of last year. We saw what they did in 2020. We saw what they've been doing up until the kickoff. I think FaZe is just the obvious pick here. I'm going to go 3-0 probably on the side of FaZe. I don't think there's much of a surprise there. Then we see London coming up again versus Optic. I'm going to go Optic. I couldn't find their white logo in a transparent form to put here, so I'm really sorry you can barely see the logo, but you can see the green star, right? So as long as you know Optic's logo is there, I'm going to be going Optic with this pick. I do think Optic is a good team. I think they definitely struggled that opening weekend, but I definitely think they're a better team than London, and they should be able to win this. I'm going to give them probably a 3-1, just because I feel like Optic might give up a map. They could 3-0 them here, but still, either way, I'm going Optic Texas for the winner of this series. Then we move into the third match. We see Seattle versus Toronto, a replay of the kickoff finals, and I'm going to go Toronto for this win. Similarly to the finals, we already saw Toronto obviously beat Seattle in a decently convincing fashion. I'm sorry if you just heard Slack go off. That was not your computer, that was mine. But I do think Toronto's got this. I personally think, and I don't want to necessarily spoil the video for rankings, but I think Toronto is the best team in the league right now. But check out my rankings video when that comes out in a day or two. But I think this is going to be close. I think this will go 3-2, but I think Toronto is going to take this one in a game 5. I just think they're overall a better squad, and I think that teamwork is unparalleled, especially in Search and Destroy, which is going to carry them through a series, especially against a tough opponent like Seattle. Our last matchup of the day on Saturday, we see NYSL versus LAG, and I'm going to give the win to NYSL. LAG is definitely a little hit or miss, especially with what we've seen and what we've been seeing from them. Obviously, I did pick them to beat Boston the day before, but I think NYSL is just a better squad. You know, I think LAG is more in the later half of the teams in terms of rankings, and I think NYSL is a little bit more in the front half of the teams when it comes to rankings. So overall, I just think they're better. I think Hydra is going to have a field day against them. I don't know why, but I think Hydra is going to have an absolutely amazing series, and I think NYSL is going to win this 3-1. And then moving on into Sunday, the last day of opening weekend, Florida versus Paris. I'm going to go Florida. I just think Florida is obviously a better team. Florida had very lucky here. They played London and Paris, which are probably the two worst teams in the league currently. I do think Florida takes this. I think they probably go 3-1 again. They probably give up one map, but I do think Florida is a solid squad and they should win the series. Then we see LA Thieves versus Atlanta FaZe. This should be a good series. I really think the last two series on Saturday and the last two series on Sunday are going to be two of the better ones of this opening weekend. But LAT versus Atlanta FaZe, I mean, this is going to be a really good match. I think these are two of the better teams in the league, and I'm going with LA to win this match. I just think the Thieves looked really good. I think they're going to be a really good squad this season, and I think with Atlanta looking a little shaky at first throughout opening weekend, it's only right to give LA the prediction in this series. I think this will probably be a 3-2, maybe a 3-1. I'm not sure how I feel about LA versus FaZe in S&D, so I think this might be a 3-1 in terms of LA Thieves. And for our final match of the opening weekend, we have Optic versus Minnesota. I'm gonna give the edge to Optic. I think Optic is going to win this. Minnesota didn't look amazing. Major Maniac looked really good. He had the top KD at that kickoff event. But I think Optic is just a stronger squad. I think they'll win this 3-1. They'll probably drop the SND, I feel like, and they'll win the respawns. But I do think this is going to be a good match. I think it's going to be close maps. I think all the maps, like the hard points, are probably going to end like 250 to 240, some crazy stuff like that. I do think we're going to see some good maps here. But I do think Optic will edge out Rocker in this series. Thank you all so much for watching this opening weekend predictions. I'm probably going to do one of these for pretty much every, weekend and major. So make sure to look out for those videos. Let me know who you think is going to be in first at the end of this weekend. Based on my predictions, I have Optic / Mutineers in first, both as 2-0, which I think is reasonable. So let me know what you think about that. With that being said, make sure to like the video, help me out in the algorithm, subscribe for more CDL content, and I'll see you all in the next video.